Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for hosting this hearing. A really important topic, obviously. And Mr. DeMasi, Mr. Beard, I represent Orange County, California, Newport Beach, Irvine. Great workforce, a lot of innovation. If you all ever want to relocate, it's a lovely place to live. But just really awed by the innovation that you guys all represent. But obviously, this is creating a lot of challenges moving forward. And I really wanted to just touch a little bit on some of the challenges that this creates vis-a-vis our standing in the world. And the United States, of course, right now is the preeminent economy, preeminent military force in the world. And I guess my first question, I'll direct this to you, Ms. Whitaker. I know you're not a foreign policy person, but do you think that if China or another adversarial nation were to get a significant advantage in AI over the United States, that that would undermine or erode or threaten our standing in the world?
Thank you for the question, and I am not a foreign policy expert, but I can talk a little bit about this. So one of the ways that I think about it is that AI is really a dual-use technology, right? There are military and defense uses of AI, but there's also civilian commercial uses. And so when we think about the importance of American leadership in AI, both of those aspects come into play. So it's really important, right, that our adversaries not have significantly more advanced capabilities than we have. It's important that our national defense structure is aware of the capabilities and sort of has the best tech available to keep us safe. But then also when it comes to our long-term competitiveness, it's also important that American tech be the best. In the last decade, tech and tech-related industries have accounted for about 35% of economic growth. And if AI is the technology of the future, then we have to make sure that we are keeping up with the pace to make sure that our economy can continue growing at the same rate.
Thank you for that answer. And I would just note that back when we were in a Cold War with the Soviet Union and other communist countries, the United States spent trillions and trillions of dollars supporting innovation in defense and other areas to try to maintain our status in the world. And right now, it looks like to me that China is the country that is supporting these industries. And I know that we have some folks at the table that don't believe the government should be involved. I would take issue with that. Just looking at the scale of what China is doing right now, they have invested $100 billion, I believe, in this past year on their semiconductor industry alone to try to support a new semiconductor industry to allow for AI. They are investing billions and billions, many billions, into clean energy, nuclear energy, and the grid to support that, understanding that energy is a limiting factor in the growth of AI. And so my understanding is they just added 429 gigawatts of new power capacity last year, which is almost 10 times what the United States added. I think we need to get ahead of the game here. And if we were willing to invest that much money and time and research innovation into the Cold War, I think we need to step up our game when it comes to competing in AI. And so I know that we have some companies doing some fantastic stuff. I just came from a briefing with Google, OpenAI, and Microsoft, but they were just noting China is pushing this out on all fronts. It's a mix of private capital and government supports, and I think we need to get in the game here. And I'm disappointed that the Trump administration is not doing more here, that they're taking clean energy offline right now, which could help add cheap energy to the grid. We've got a lot to do, but I also want to talk a little bit about our workforce because I think this is something that is posing an increasing threat. And Sam Altman actually came to brief a number of us earlier this summer, and his message was very clear. In the past, I'd come to Congress, and I should say I'm a freshman, so this was my first time meeting Sam Altman or being a briefing like this. But he said, in the past, I'd come to Congress and say, AI is coming faster than you think. Today, I'm here to tell you AI is already here, and it's happening more rapidly than you think. And since that time, I have been talking to a lot of parents of kids that I represent who are graduating from college. They're all reporting the same thing. The norm right now is for kids to graduate from college over the last 2 years and not have good jobs, that they're working at Starbucks, they're living with their parents. And these are anecdotes. I know it's not data, but that's starting to show up a little bit in the data. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, we are already seeing very significantly heightened unemployment rates. 4.59% last year, which is much higher than the 3.25% rate we saw a few years ago. And of course, that doesn't reflect underemployment, employment that may not be up to the skills that folks are getting. And I know that the classic economist answer is that AI will create new jobs, that it will, that these will be things that workers can transition to. But I'm also old enough to remember when NAFTA had that same argument. And while we did create new jobs out of trade, I will just say there are millions of workers that were displaced, lost their jobs, many of whom never found equivalent jobs, many of whose families suffered We saw just an implosion in good parts of the country because of the loss of manufacturing. And the scale and speed at which AI is right now displacing jobs is a deep concern to me. So I guess my last question to you, and I guess I'm running out of time, Ms. Whitaker, do you have any recommendations, just given what we can, what I expect will be a massive displacement in workers in the next few years? When we're talking about 5 years of college students not getting jobs, potentially 10 years, how do we try to transition these people? What can we do to support the workforce in this environment where, admittedly, we're going to be getting a lot of great gains out of it?
Yeah, I think to your point, we need more data to understand what actually is happening. The changes seem to be happening so quickly that students and parents don't even know what they should be focusing on when it comes to kids deciding on what university to go to, what major, or what other types of training programs they should be entering into, whether it be trade schools or community colleges or just joining the workforce. We've also done our own analysis that found that different industries are going to have different levels of exposure to AI. Things like computer engineering, customer service may be more exposed, but other fields like in-home healthcare is going to be less exposed to automation. And so having that type of data to empower particularly young people to make those choices early in their career, I think will be the most important step initially.
Thank you so much. I yield back.